Hi, welcome back to another video. I've already got my pink gloves on and just going to show you what we're going to use today. So there's a couple of lovely powders, one from Let's Resin and one from Arteza. This lovely large purple coloured mandala style mould and these four lovely coasters. But you'll see them in a bit more detail in just a moment or two. So look at this. Now, I hadn't seen coaster moulds like this ever, and just had to have them. Loved the flower design and just think that once you put mica powders over it, they will look stunning. These I've seen before. I think we've done them before and brought them to you in a video. Have a look back to our playlist. I think they were called rainbow coasters or something, possibly. But it'd be interesting to see if these come out shiny or matte. So up first with the lovely, lovely green mica powder from Arteza. Now this has been sped up a little bit because this took me a little while. But look, can you see just how that? I mean, it's. I haven't got the words for it. This reminds me of when I was a very young child and we used to go to a village where my grandparents lived and they had a chapel, and in the chapel they had these lovely engraved brass panels, and you could, as long as you had permission, you could do rubbings of them. So you'd put down your piece of paper over the top, you'd get your wax crayons and you'd rub the crayon over the paper, and it would bring to life this beautiful pattern, which is what this reminds me of. So I'm just really pleased that these are coming out as well as they are. Now just going around the edge here as well with the same beautiful greenish gold coloured mica. It's stunning. Everything that we've used in the video today that you're seeing will be linked in the description box below. So there we go. Just give me a little tap, tap, tap. Make sure we get rid of any excess. So that's that one. Now here's the other design. And I'm going to use the same colour green. And again, I'm just using a dry bristled paintbrush, regular paintbrush, to apply the mica powder. You just dip it in the pot of mica powder. Try not to put too much on. I'm being a little bit over generous here. And then you just literally brush it all over the surface of the mould. And usually, as long as they're good quality silicone moulds, the mica powder will adhere to it. And there we go. So I'm just going to tap this one, turn it upside down, tap it, make sure you get rid of any excess. There we go. On the kitchen towel there. Look at that green gold shimmer. So this is Let's Resin. Now this isn't a mica powder, this is a metallic powder. You'll see the difference in a moment. Now this is copper. Look at that. Now this does remind me of the brass rubbings or the pieces of engraved brass that I have seen. You maybe if you've seen some in your local museum, if they have a collection too. But look at that. So can you see the difference? It's very difficult to explain. There's no sparkly, glittery gold, sort of glittery sheen to it. It is literally like a piece of copper, looking at a sheet of copper metal. And I just don't know how else to describe this, but the coverage is excellent. You need next to nothing of it. Now, I'm just going to go, as I said, like I've done with the other two with the green, up round the sides there, because that's what I want it to do. So we are just carefully going round the edges. Of course, you can do this on just a sheet of paper, and then anything you tap out, you can then just carefully pour back into the pots that they've come from, the pipe. So the powders and the mica powders and the metallic powders. So there we go. Just tapping it, the excess out into the surface of the other mould. Look at the sheen. It's lovely warmth to it, lovely glow from that beautiful copper coloured metallic powder. Look at that. Beautiful. So look, we've got almost enough to do the whole of the other coaster without renewing it. So just making sure I've got lots of lovely coverage, putting a little bit more on my brush. Yeah, too much, but never mind. All up round the sides there, just making sure that it is adhering to every surface that I want it to cover. There we go. Lovely. There we are. Okie dokie. So here we are. This is it up close now. This is the other design. Very much an Aztec, Mayan sort of, from the Andes sort of look to it. Now, this is the much larger mould. Now, this bit has been sped up. Now, I think I just like to make things difficult for myself here. But I thought, now how can I incorporate both the mica powder by Arteza, which is the green, the beautiful green colour, and this lovely copper Let's Resin metallic powder. And I thought, I'm going to pick out sections of this mould to dust with the two different colours. Well, yeah. It's, I'd say go careful. Use a small brush. You could use a micro brush if you wanted to. But I'm just using a much smaller, finer paintbrush. It's dry again, and there you are, this bit's sped up. This, in fact, I think is on a time lapse. This took me quite a while to do. And I did go back in afterwards and do a bit of a clean-up job as well. We're using just a regular baby wipe. Just to clear it out of the areas where I didn't want it to be. So you can see can you see the design coming to life? Of course, you could just do it all in the one colour. You could do it all in the mica powder. You could do it all in the metallic powder. Totally up to you. But I love this. I think this is beautiful. Now, I'd like to see this like that and then leave the rest of it blank and pour in white resin. So white pigmented resin. Or black. Oh my gosh, black would be beautiful and make the colour really pop. Really, really pop. So just decided to go out a little bit wider in the centre with the copper. So I'm just doing that with some little movements there with the brush. Just using exactly the powder that was already on the brush there. And you can see I've got a few places where I need to just go in and do a bit of a tidy up job. There we are. I do like to make things difficult for myself, but it needs to tie in with the two colours in the other coasters. So then you would have them as a set. But I mean, you don't have to use them just for putting your glasses or cups or mugs on. You could use them, you could put vases on them, you could just have them as display pieces. Totally up to you. Totally up to you. So I would just use a wet baby wipe there just to get rid of a few bits and then realise, you haven't done the edges, Laura. So I decided just to do the copper all one colour around the edges of the mould there. And of course, because this was more triangular shaped all around the edges, it took a little bit longer time-wise to do this. So all around the edge, there we go. Look at that copper metallic powder on my fingers. Thank goodness I wore my pink gloves. Right, now we're going to fill in the blank areas now with the beautiful green. There we go. So just literally brushed it all over in where those purple parts are that you can still see of the mould first, and then just brushed it over to make sure that every single last bit of the mould was completely covered with either a metallic powder or a mica powder. But I do absolutely love these two colours together. They work so well. So well. There we go. Apologies if you can hear a dog barking in the background. That's one of our neighbours. So there we go. There's the finished piece that's been brushed with the mica powder and the metallic powder. And here we go, just with the coasters there as well, as you can see. And I'm going to use polyurethane resin. I think in future I probably wouldn't use the polyurethane. Nothing wrong with using it, but it's just easier, I think, when I've got more time, I'll use standard epoxy resin. So the polyurethane resin, it's a 1-to-1 mixing ratio, same as for the brand that we've got. The good thing about it is that it cures within a matter of minutes. The bad thing is there's almost zero work time. So didn't quite have enough to fill up the larger mould. So frantically, whilst I was pouring this one in, Wayne was then mixing up some more polyurethane resin for me. The only thing we have found, I don't know if it's because we've getting to the ends of the containers, is that it was a little bit lumpy and was almost curing as soon as we put it in. But here we are. I'm just topping up the larger mould. There we go. It's already milky. Now, normally you wouldn't expect to see it that colour until it's starting to cure. Not when you've added part A and part B together to then mix them for literally a matter of 20 seconds, if that, and then pouring it in. What you can see in the moulds to the left, the circular moulds, is a little bit of the mica powder that's come to the surface. Now, here we go. This is it. It's still curing. We've got a little bit of indentation and bubbling going on. Oh, I did a few skulls because we had some left over. But what we'll do is we'll just lightly sand those down when they've completely cured in a couple of weeks' time. So there we go. They have cured enough and they have cooled down completely. As you can see there, it's a little bit uneven there on that surface. As I said, what we'll do on another time, we'll lightly sand down the surface so it's completely smooth. Look at that. Now, it's not super glossy. If you want a super glossy finish, I absolutely love this finish though. It's got a sheen. It's not got a gloss to it, it's got a sheen. If you want it to be glossy, then you're going to have to go over it with some UV resin and then cure it. Now, just removing this one. Now, this was a little bit upsetting, but it's fixable. It's fixable. So all I'm literally going to do is get the copper metallic powder and the brush, go back in, dust over those, turn it over, tap it out, and then reseal it, and it will be absolutely fine. Here we go with the first of the green. Look at that colour, stunning. So I absolutely love this. Love the pattern, absolutely love it. Mandalas are one of my favourite things. I like colouring them. I liked doing jigsaws of them, and I have actually had a go at drawing some of my own. I did that a few years ago now at a workshop here where we live in the UK, and it was great fun. Great fun. So here's the final shot. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I loved making this one. It's definitely one I'd do again. There are so many different colourways. They could go for the whole monochrome look. You could just go for one particular colour that you like. You could give it a bit of glitter if you wanted to. You could outline some of the raised parts of the moulds of the pattern with gold or silver pen. Totally up to you. But thanks for liking, sharing and subscribing. And if you've joined us in the live chat, it was great to talk to you. Take care and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.